Dia tengah ada.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. إن الحمد لله ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم. ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله عز وجل وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Brothers and sisters, in our everyday life, we often are taxed with various trusts. To fulfill those trusts as a Muslim is a priority for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it one of the qualities of the successful believer. In Surah 23, the first 11 ayat, verses, talk about the qualities of the believers who are successful. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And there are many qualities that are mentioned. One of them is mentioned is وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. Those who take care of their promises and their trusts. They embrace them, they fulfill them, they make sure that nothing is missing or diminished from those promises or those trusts. So when you borrow a book from someone, you return it just like it was or in better shape. If you rent a car, you make sure that the car does not have any scratches on it. As a Muslim, I'm talking as a Muslim now. That as a Muslim, you make sure there's no scratches or any bumps or anything, and if there are, that you will take care of it. It's an amana. It's a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you rent a house or an apartment, the same deal. You try to make sure that you take care of it to the best of your ability, because that's who we are as Muslims. We fulfill our trusts. If somebody gave you some money to hold while they're traveling, and they said, I'll take it back from you when I come back, you don't spend a penny of it because it's a trust. It's a trust. Brothers and sisters, when you fulfill your trust as a Muslim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam loves you. You get to go to Jannah. And in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for you. He gives you from places you can never imagine because you've fulfilled your trust about something. Some time ago, brothers and sisters, some centuries ago, one of our scholars, his name was Abu Aqil, rahimahullah. When he was a young man, he went to do Hajj. At this time, he was a budding scholar, had not really become a scholar, but his akhlaq, his character, was very scholarly. It followed the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it follows the Quran from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this young man, he went to Hajj. And as he was doing Hajj and performing the various rites of Hajj, he came across a necklace of pearls. Very valuable necklace. And he found it on the road. So he picked it up and he began asking people, did somebody lose a necklace? Did somebody lose a necklace? This was an amana. This was an amana, a trust. So he wanted to make sure that he gets it back to its owner. So he began announcing all over in Mina, in Arafah, and Muzdalifah, and Sa'i. He began mentioning every Safa and Marwa that I have this thing, I have this necklace. Has anybody lost a necklace? Nobody came forward. After the Hajj, he was about to leave, and he still was announcing in the streets of Makkah, because he made dua to Allah that, Ya Allah, help you to find the owner of this necklace. So, as he was leaving, he was still announcing all over the streets in Makkah, anybody lost a necklace? From the distance, an old man came forward, and he said that, I lost a necklace. So the young man said, can you describe the necklace? And he described the old man described the necklace, and it was exactly his necklace. He said, here's your necklace. The old man was shocked. He thought he would never find this necklace. He made dua for the young man, and both of them moved on. The young man, Abu Aqil, rahimahullah, he said, I went to Bayt al-Maqdis. I went to Masjid al-Aqsa. And I went there, I stayed there for a few days after the Hajj, and then on my way back, I stopped in Syria, in Halab. And there, I got there at night as I was traveling back to my home, and I was hungry, didn't have any food for a few days. I had no money, had no place to stay, and it was cold. It was very cold. In the distance, I saw a masjid. I saw a masjid. So I took shelter in that masjid at night. In the morning, the people, they came and they woke me up and they said it's time for Fajr. So I went and I did my wudu and I came for Fajr and I prayed my sunnah and we were all sitting in the line waiting for the Imam to come. All of a sudden, the people who were in the first row, they began looking around. And one of them came up to me and said, "You look like to be a very pious person." Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Awliya'ullah, idha ru'u dhukir Allah." The friends of Allah are those who, when they're seen by others, Allah is remembered. He said, these people, they came up to me and this one person came up to me and he said that you look to be pious and would you lead us in the salah? He said, so I went ahead and I led them in the salah. After the salah, they began talking to me and they knew that I was foreign in the land. I was not from the community. And they asked me where I was from and I told them and so on, and I was going back home and I stopped here on the way. And they said, why don't you be our imam? Because you know the imam of the masjid recently passed away. He went for Hajj, he came back from Hajj and he passed away. So we need an imam and why don't you lead us in the salah? And so he said, Inshallah, I could do that because I don't have anybody waiting for me at home. He was not married. So they said that why don't you, the Shaykh, the Imam who was leading the Salah, he only left one daughter behind. And she has her house. So why don't you consider her for marriage? He went and they talked and she accepted and they got married. On the first day after the marriage, when he came into her room, he saw the exact same necklace. SubhanAllah. He saw that exact same necklace that he gave to the old man. So he asked her, where did you get this necklace? She said, this is mine. He said, no, this is the exact same necklace that I gave the man who lost it in Mecca and I returned it to him. She said, exactly. That was my father. He used to make dua for me that, oh Allah, have my daughter marry someone like that man who returned the necklace to me. And I didn't even get that man, but I got him exactly the man who did it. Not somebody like him, but the man who did it. Brothers and sisters, this is what happens when you fulfill the amana. When you fulfill a trust, Allah gives you more than you bargained for. Not only did He return the necklace back to the man, but He gave him that father's daughter as well. Brothers and sisters, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, guarantee 6 things for me, and I'll guarantee you Jannah. When you speak, he said, so I'm translating because of the time. He said, when you speak, speak the truth. When you make a promise, fulfill it. When you're tasked with a trust, take care of that trust. Protect your privates, number 4. Number 5, guard your gate. Number 6, keep your hands to yourself. So if you protect your trust, your amana, you get Jannah. One time when Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that whoever would like to love Allah and His Messenger, and would like Allah and His Messenger to love him, then when they speak, they should speak the truth. When they're given a trust, they should take care of that trust. And they should treat good anyone who is besides them. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه يغفر لكم واسترشدوه يرشدكم واستهزئوا بأهلكم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، اللهم صل وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Brothers and sisters, amana, trust, one of the hallmark qualities of the believer. Something that Allah provides. If you take care of it, Allah will give you rizq. Allah will provide for you. And Allah will give you Jannah. And Allah and His Messenger will love you. Need I say more? But yes, maybe a little bit more. Brothers and sisters, we have a very valuable trust in our hands. Those are our children. It's a trust given to us from Allah. Our children were given to us with a fitrah, the human nature to recognize and acknowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a trust that Allah is going to ask us about on the Day of Judgment. How we dealt with the trust that He gave us. Like Islam, like Iman, like the Sunnah, like the Quran, like Ramadan. What did we do with these trusts? Like our children. Brothers and sisters, each and every one of us must think of our children as a trust. If we thought of them as trusts from Allah, could we be so careless to put them in the public school? Most of our brothers and sisters, you may be from abroad, from our Muslim countries abroad. I tell you because I've grown up here in America all my life. Public schools are bad news. If you want to lose your children, send them to the public schools. The public schools are like wolves ready for the sheep, your children. Our children, they're suffering from all types of identity crises. Their thought patterns are different from the believer. I'm sure you will concur. The way that they think, atheism is rife, is very commonplace, and is becoming the new normal. Atheism, belief in no God. Yet we are Abdullahs and Amatullah. Brothers and sisters, Ramadan is around the corner. Tonight, tomorrow, Ramadan will start. And you know the famous hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. إذا كان أول ليلة من شهر رمضان, when the first night of Ramadan comes, صفدت الشياطين ومرضت الجن. The shaitans are locked up. They're chained. And the disobedient chain. And every door of the hellfire is closed, not a single door remains open. And every door, I'm just translating because of the time, and every door of Jannah is open, not a single door of the Jannah remains closed. And there's a caller who calls out. And that caller calls out and says, Ya baghi al-khayr, aqbil. O doer of good, come forward. Wa ya baghi al-shar, aqsir. And O doer of evil, get back. وَلِلَّهِ وَتَقَى مِنَ النَّارِ وَذَلِكَ كُلُّ لَيْلَةٍ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala liberates people from the hellfire every night in the month of Ramadan. Brothers and sisters, our community, this entire community, all the masajid in this area, and the entire community, with all this masajid, 13 years ago, we started a school, Al-Huda School, so we can raise the next generation, the generation that will come and take care of a masjid like this, a school that will provide imams for the future from homegrown imams, homegrown qurra, people who recite the Quran beautifully, huffaz, homegrown social workers, people who will give da'wah, ambassadors of Islam to the rest of Pennsylvania, rest of Harrisburg and the rest of Pennsylvania. We need to think of the future. Let us not live by the day. As I've shared with you before, the Muslims came to the Americas before the Christians, before the Jews, more than 1,000 years ago. But we have no presence because we didn't build schools. We didn't build educational centers in the masajid. Allah is giving us a second chance. Let's not waste it. Let's support the schools that we have. Islamic education is a must. It's not a choice. It's a must. And we must realize this. Ramadan is the perfect time to reset our orientation, to refocus on what is really important. Because if you believe what you say, you'll do it. If you believe what Allahu Akbar means in your life, if Allah is really Akbar in your life, then you will set the priorities straight. If Allah is Akbar, then you will be an Allah-centered person, not a self-centered person. And the decision is yours. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all to support this deen and to establish this deen in the most foreign of places. Brothers and sisters, understand that there are millions of people in our countries who are begging to come here. They're camped outside the American embassies. But Allah chose you. Allah chose you to be here. Not to eat, drink, and be merry, but to establish this deen. To take it seriously. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. There is no one better than the one who invites to the way of Allah and then does something about it. Works according to it. Is not passive. Is active. Dynamic. Involved. Not waiting for others to do the task. And he says, and he opened the announcement, I am from those who are the Muslims. We are the Muslims. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب وأقم الصلاة.